Hey everyone, I'm Coach Chippys and I've been a professional top laner or head coach for the past 8 years. During this time I've reached Worlds and MSI multiple times. Now I'm a full-time coach with a ton of passion towards helping players unlock their potential and climb to their dream rank. Welcome back everyone. Now to me that World Finals was so hype, but especially Game 1. Zeus on the YONE, he just played the pick extremely well, but especially his lane phase and his team fighting. And after reviewing it, I really wanted to share it with you guys because this player is just so good on the pick. So if you're interested to see how he played the lane and team fighting so well, then this is the video for you. Now we're going to be starting it off, of course, with a review of the laning phase, and even though in this game, Zeus did die to ganks multiple times, he still played out his matchup extremely well and gained himself a massive advantage. And this has always been Zeus' counterpick to Aatrox, he always dominates on the pick, so I'm not really sure why Weibo gave it to him in game 1, but he really made them regret it and made them ban it for the rest of the series. Now, the way this matchup is normally played, if you're to play in solo queue, is YONE of course is going to hard win level 1, lethal tempo, stack up your queue, but here he's not playing to do that. He doesn't want to be attacking this Aatrox too much, because he's going to play to allow his jungler to invade. Where if he was to play aggressive right now, trade on the Aatrox, with his Q3, beat down the wave, even though now he's going to get level 2 advantage, the reason he's not doing so is because he wants to be 3-wave crashing. Because if he builds the second wave and the third wave together and crashes that under tower, he's going to have a lot more time to invade the enemy jungle and help out what his Lee Sin wants to do. But yeah, that's just what he's trying to do. He's playing primarily for the wave, and of course he's going to chip down the Aatrox's HP bar if he can, with his W, with an extra Q or two, and even here he takes a little bit of extra trade at the end, but he's mainly also be playing to set up his Lee for success, where if you check in on what they're doing, it's basically a standoff, where they're fighting over the walls, but because Zeus is able to rotate here, it makes it really hard for Weiwei to contest the wolf camp, and now he's gained himself an advantage for his jungler. He's gained his team an advantage, and he only lost about 1 CS in response, because he 3-wave crashed. Where if he made it awkward, if he 2-wave crashed, TheShy tried to freeze it, he wouldn't be able to crash a third wave if it was under tower, he wouldn't be able to help out his jungle in this timer. But now he can play for himself. Now that Lee Sin has done his early game call, that he most likely called in loading screen, now he can look to play selfishly, and the way you normally want to be timing your base on this matchup is you want to be basing for 1100 gold, which is exactly what Zeus does. You want to be rushing Berserker Greaves as fast as you can. So here he's happy just to ping pong the waves, and as you'll notice, he's about to get 1100 gold for his Berserker Greaves, so that's when he's going to look to base and start to play more aggressive. Here he's just finishing off the wave, getting his 1100 gold, and he even escorts the wave in, make sure the Shy doesn't freeze it, even gets a little bit of a bonus trade at the end, and you'll notice he times it so he doesn't take a tower shot, just really beautiful trading, and now that he's got his Berserker Greaves, he's going to start to trade a lot more aggressive in this matchup. So now heading back to lane, he's going to start to play a lot more aggressive. As you can see, he's just full trading, letting the wave come back into him so that he can pull out the Shy, and he even tries to stop his recall. He's playing really aggressive now at the 1100 gold spike, the Berserker Greaves, because he knows he's going to hard win these trades. And he starts to play a lot more aggressive, but the most impressive thing about how Zeus trades in this matchup is he takes 100 to 0 trade. So I'm going to slow it down, because now it gets to the point where you want to be analyzing the trades. So here, you'll notice he dashes in, dodges the Q, jumps back, dodges the Q2, and he's not taking any damage. So this is called a 100 to 0 trade, where you're doing damage to your opponent and not taking any damage in return, and Zeus is just doing it so well. Or even now, dodging the Q, dodging the W, dodging the Q2, he's just dodging all of the Shy's spells while doing damage in return, and of course it's easier said than done, but Zeus is just such an amazing player, so he's able to do so consistently. And even now, going for a tower plate, doing even a bit of extra damage under the tower, and he does take a little bit of damage in return, but you can just see how much more damage he's doing to the Shy, and he's just really starting to grow his advantage, where now he's up 12 CS, purely from 1v1, even though he hasn't had any jungle help at all, he's actually helped his jungler, it's a bit of the opposite, and now he's going to be looking to keep on the slaughter, right, keep on the punish, and now you notice he'll hit level 7 before the Shy. Now, it's not instantly, it's not as soon as he hits level 7, but here he takes a bit of a skill check. He notices the Shy is trying to play aggressive, and he tries to time it, so as soon as the Shy uses Q, he tries to ult him, where the Shy is actually a good player, right? He passes his skill check, he dodges the ulti with E, but you can just see how aggressive he's playing now that he's hit the spike he wanted. I'll speed it back up again, but he's going to be taking these 100-0 trades. That's the aim of the game in this matchup. You don't want to be low HP. Of course, YONE doesn't really have sustain. So if you were to take a lot of Aatrox Qs, and you're to be half HP, for example, it's very easy for Aatrox to look for all-in windows, but Zeus is not going to be allowed there, right? He hasn't really taken any damage in this matchup. He hasn't tanked any Qs. He's just playing the matchup so beautifully, and he's just whipping the Shy, lower and lower HP, and the Shy is forced to call up his jungler. Now, even though Zeus does die to this gank that's incoming, it's not actually much of a problem, right? Of course, it's better if he survived it, but the reason it's not bad is because, and this rule will apply in solo queue as well, you don't really want to be ganking the lane that is getting destroyed, right? You don't want to be ganking, putting resources into a lane to bail them out of a bad situation. And as you see here, Zeus is up 20 CS, he's hard winning all the trades, he's constantly got TheShy stuck under tower, losing tower plates, and now Maokai is coming, not to a position of strength, not trying to snowball TheShy, not trying to, push big waves under his tower and dive him, not trying to gain a massive advantage. He's just coming to stop the bleeding. Where, if you'll notice, I'll slow it down. Here, the Zeus did waste his E, of course he probably could have lived this, but Weiwei uses flash ulti, the Shy burns ult as well. They burn literally everything to kill him, they don't even burn his flash, and now even though they have stemmed the bleeding a little bit, the Shy did get a nice kill, he's still behind. He's not up in gold by any means, he's not stronger by any means, and Weiwei has wasted this whole time, his flash and ulti, all that threat is gone, he showed top for a long time, helping him push the wave, so now it's hard for his bot lane to play, his mid lane's by himself, and the rest of T1, their mid and bot, they know Maokai doesn't have flash ult, we can play more aggressive on this timer, and I'm not saying it's bad, right? Of course the Shy, he basically needed that or he's going to keep getting destroyed. I'm just saying it's not that bad for Zeus because he was winning so hard before it happened, where the jungle resources would had to be used to stop the bleeding, not really snowball the other top laner. So now from this point, the Shy just gave up a lot of tempo to gain a tower plate, which means Zeus can get a plate in response, so even though he just died and the enemy jungler burned literally everything to kill him, he's still in a good position, he's still breaking plates, he's still, getting his waves in, he's still ahead of the Shy, so that gank didn't really stop what Zeus wants to be doing, and you'll notice he even snowballs his lead even further by taking camps, which is a really good thing to do on red side top lane. A lot of champions can do it. YONE and Aatrox are two on the screen right now. They can take Krogs, especially on red side, and Zeus does that to grow his advantage even further. And now he's still looking to take these trades, right? That was a pretty bad trade, compared to his other trades, but he still wants to be aiming for 100-0 trades. And as you'll see, he basically gets them. He's getting those W chip damage down, and now he goes to eat Krugs. So he's growing his lead without really needing to kill the Shy, without needing to break tower plates because he's able to farm these Krugs off cooldown. And it's a lot harder to farm Gromp than it is to farm Krugs, especially on champs like this, YONE and Aatrox, great AoE spells. And now he's just so far ahead, he's up 24 CS, even though the Shy is the one that's received a lot of resources. And the way he plays trades is just so good. You'll see even there he took a Q, dodged the Q2. He really wants to be staying high HP in this matchup, tries to block Q3 with W, and now, even though the skirmish, it was pretty close, to be honest, it didn't work out because of the center ulti, and he might have died anyway without it, but even though the skirmish doesn't work out, it doesn't really change anything, which just shows how well Zeus has played this matchup, right? How well he's played his lane phase, because even though he's died twice, he's made 2 mistakes and he's died for it, he's still ahead of the Shy and he's still able to grow his lead even further. Now, something you may notice in a lot of high-level pro games is around 14 minutes the mid-game will officially begin, and you'll see Kyria is already on his way here, and the reason it's important around 14 minutes is because tower plates will fall, so you're not really going to lose anything. If the enemy team chooses to hard engage bot, for example, you're not going to drop any plates, so the advantage, the gold you give is not going to be that much as if you were to do so earlier. And this is a great timer for Kyria to roam, because the Shy, just got a lot of resources. Now he's level 11 versus level 10, so this is his timer to look to punish. So they're able to not counter gank, but punish him on this timer quite nicely, where he's going to be looking to play aggressive, and because it's the mid game, you want to be putting your bot lane in the mid lane, which is exactly what they're doing. You want them there to control the map. Of course, 2 people, for the most part, going to be stronger than 1. And you really want to put your strongest side laning champion, some games it will be mid, for the most part it will be top. You want to put your strongest side laning champion on the side opposite of the next objective. And you'll see here the next objective is Herald, so Zeus runs straight bottom. And now Zeus is entering the side lane quite power spiked. He's got his Kraken Slayer double Ruby looking to build towards that Hull Breaker. So there's not much the Shy can really do in the side. He's not really going to get pushed. And now he's going to be fogging up towards the Herald. He wants to be helping his team if a Herald fight breaks out. And if one doesn't, he's going to be going back to bot, which is a really good way to play even in solo queue. And here he chooses to commit because the enemy team looks like they're contesting. And he's able to help out, burn the AD flash, get a good chunk down. And now he's helped his team secure the Herald with his Prio, which is something you should be looking to do yourself in solo queue if you can get side lane Prio. You look to push somebody under tower and then fog up between the lanes, basically fog up between mid and the side, and then fully commit to the objective if it looks like a fight is going to break out. Now, coming up, we're going to be reviewing how Zeus carried this dragon fight, and in my opinion, this is the main reason why I would say he carried this game. Because at this point, even though they are not behind in gold by any means, they're down in kills, the momentum wasn't really in their favor. There was a lot of plays that didn't go that well for them, but after this point, it really changed the momentum of the game completely, and Zeus, in my opinion, hard carried this team fight, which was the main reason the momentum changed. So here you'll notice he's coming up to the dragon, And this is from his vision, by the way, his point of view. You'll see there's a lot going on. There's a lot of action. His teammates are getting chunked. They're getting CC'd. It could be very tempting to almost any other Yone player, to pop E, go for the 4-man ulti, try to engage here, but no one on his team can follow up. So here he shows a really good understanding of holding your spells. Because if he ulted forward here, even if he hits multiple people, no one's really going to be able to follow up. His team just used all their key cooldowns, and he's not going to have enough damage to carry the fight completely by himself, so he's able to hold his spells completely at this point and use them at a better timer. Which here also his position in this team fight is really good. He's playing from a flank as well. You don't want to be playing front to back on Yone, of course. And here he even has a bit of extra time, clear the minion wave. And his Q3 does time out, but he's able to restack it again. And you'll notice at this point, it could be still tempting. He doesn't really have vision, but his team is fighting here. It could be so tempting for him to get stuck in the action, but he's holding his spells quite nicely. He stacks Q3 on the dragon, and you'll notice the second he sees Maokai Q smite this dragon, he goes in. He goes in, hits a 3-man Q, hits a 3-man ulti, well maybe 2-man ulti, but he's able to completely turn this fight on his head because he showed a really good understanding of holding his spells. His team fight positioning was really good, and even though this is a team game, it's going to feel really tempting to ult in because his team would have been screaming in that fight, focus Maokai, charm up in 3, whatever comms they'll be saying. It'd be really tempting for him to try follow it up, but he holds his spells really well. He shows a high level of discipline, even though it's a world final game with a lot of stakes. So now coming out to the map, the next objective spawning is Baron, so Zeus wants to be on the opposite side of that, pressuring as hard as he can and making people react to him. And here you'll notice Jace answers him instead of Aatrox, so Zeus instantly pulls the trigger as soon as he sees Jace, not as soon as he sees him, but he looks for a timer here, he tries to ult in and it doesn't go so well, but he's just playing really aggressive from this timer. He's really looking to abuse his strength, because now he's a 2-item hull breaker, Kraken Slayer Yone. He's really powerful, so his team gives him the resources, he breaks the tower, and he's just growing his lead further and further. Now a team fight breaks out, so of course he TPs in, has to back up the boys, and this fight I wouldn't say he carried up by any means, right? He just did his job, but he still shows a really good understanding of holding spells. He doesn't have ulti at this point, but he's holding his E this whole time until it's the right time to use it. So even though in this fight he didn't carry, in my opinion this is a snowball effect from the dragon fight, and the rest of his team played insane in this fight. If you want to rewatch it, especially Gumiasi managed to survive it, but he's still playing these fights well time and time again. The only real mistake he made in this game was dying to ganks, but his laning and his team fighting and even his macro was just so good in this game. So we'll finish it off by going through the last sequence of the game, but it's basically just utilizing their Baron macro, where here his team's able to get Baron, and now he wants to be the one mid, right? His champion is the safest, he's Flash Yone with ulti, level 18 Hullbreaker, so of course he wants to be the one mid, and his team is going to be going top. Now the reason he wants to be playing this assignment with Baron is instead of him top and his team mid, even though normally that's where you'd want to be, you want to be the side lane as Hullbreaker Yone, the reason it changes with Baron is because they have to engage on someone. And if your whole team is mid, it's a lot easier to engage on the people mid, right? You can flank from the bot jungle, even if you have full vision of this jungle, they can get flanked from a lot of different angles. But here you see they're playing top, they only really need control of this area, and that's the only way they can get flanked from, so it's very easy for his team to live, and if they flank him, it's really easy for him just to, Yone ult over the wall, flash if he has to, and survive by himself. So that's the reason why I want to be mid, and you'll see the second he TPs in mid, he just plays max aggression, trades with TheShy, pops the Sterax and then kites it back down, and as soon as the Sterax times out, he goes back in. So beautiful mechanics all in all, and he's able to break the tower himself, even with no minions, just insane. He still had the minion tower debuff, but he's just so strong at this point, he can just run down their team, and I thought he was going to get a Penta in the moment, but unfortunately he didn't. And now he's able to close out the game. So in my opinion, of course, from the Dragon Point onwards, they were just so far ahead, the game was in their hands quite handily, but he hard carried this game because he gained such a massive lead in lane, despite being ganked multiple times, and the way he played his team fights was amazing, especially holding his spells, where in my opinion, if he blew his ulti from that Dragon fight we showed before, at a bad time, and his team lost that fight, this game could have been completely different. Alright everyone, I'm going to call it there, and I probably will end up doing the other two games at some point, but in my opinion, this is the game he carried the hardest, so I wanted to get it done straight away. But if you're interested to see how he played the Gwen and the Aatrox game, stay tuned, those will be coming soon, but for now, I'll see you guys next time.